Welcome to the Manpower New Associate Safety Orientation Training Program. As a Manpower associate, safe work practices must be a priority every day. The actions you take within your job responsibilities on a daily basis play a key role in helping the Manpower team remain productive and safe from injury. This orientation has been prepared to inform you of your responsibility to work safely every day. The goal of this program is to provide you with information on what to do in case of an accident or injury and to review general safety rules and practices for accident prevention. As you work through this training program, keep in mind that the safety practices covered in this program are conditions of employment and are not optional. As a Manpower associate, you may be given work assignments under the supervision of various clients at any number of locations. Your compliance with the safety rules and job site safety practices associated with these assignments will ensure your safety and the safety of your coworkers. Working safely requires common sense, practice, teamwork, knowledge, and focused attention on the job you are performing. Manpower and its clients are committed to providing and maintaining a safe work environment for all associates. However, even at the safest work sites, sometimes accidents occur. While on job assignments, it's very important to be aware of accident exposure. In the event you are involved in an on-the-job accident, Manpower requires you to follow all rules and regulations. If you are involved in an on-the-job accident, it is your responsibility to contact Manpower. Even a small injury must be reported, and you should seek first aid immediately. Proper notification concerning any on-the-job injury is important in order to protect your right under workers' compensation legislation. This will help ensure that you receive proper medical treatment, will expedite your return to work, and protect others from suffering the same injury. All clients for which you may be working are aware of these procedures and will help you to follow this process. Unless it is an emergency, it is your responsibility to contact Manpower immediately and let them know of your injury. Never assume someone has contacted Manpower for you. If it is an emergency, as soon as you are able, please make sure Manpower has been notified of your injury. Please be aware that if you are involved in an accident or injury that requires medical attention, a representative from Manpower may meet you at the physician's office or hospital. At that time, as with every accident and injury, the Manpower representative will begin a report and conduct an investigation of the accident. For your protection and care, it is important that you cooperate with this process. Following an accident, Manpower will require you to submit to a drug screen. This screen is a routine part of our policies and procedures regarding on-the-job accidents and injuries. The drug screen is in compliance with our substance abuse program, and a consent to drug testing authorization signed by you is part of your employment agreement with Manpower. In the event of an accident or injury, Manpower will make certain that you receive the best medical treatment available and will help you return to work as quickly as possible. We have effective return-to-work transitional duty programs that will accommodate most restrictions or limitations to get you back to work. You should also know that Manpower thoroughly investigates all accidents and will aggressively pursue legal action against fraudulent claims. True or false? All injuries should be reported to Manpower. Accidents are defined as unplanned events that interrupt production of service resulting in bodily injury, property damage, or loss of time. 90% of accidents are caused by one of the following factors: safety rule violations, deliberate acts that defy safety rules, acts resulting from not knowing the safety rules, and uncontrollable acts. Preventing accidents takes a team approach. Knowledge of safe work practices, using required personal protective equipment or PPE, and conducting regular safety inspections of machinery and equipment all contribute to preventing accidents. Before beginning work at any client site, it is important to know the rules for working safely. Never take risks. The best approach to doing any job is the common sense safe way. When you're given an assignment, Manpower will tell you what your duties include. Any variance from these duties must be approved by Manpower prior to your doing them. Unsafe, hazardous working conditions, as well as any unsafe actions of coworkers, must be reported to your supervisor and your Manpower representative. You should be properly trained before attempting to operate any equipment or machinery. Remember that horseplay or any unauthorized activity is not permitted on the job site. We also do not allow associates to engage in athletic events or sports during work hours. Additional safety rules include: Manpower does not expect you to take any unnecessary chances to work under hazardous conditions. Drinking alcoholic beverages on the job or during work hours is strictly prohibited, as well as use of illegal drugs or prescription medication that may interfere with your job tasks. Always work at the speed that is consistent with safety. Use the handrails on stairs and other elevated places. Always inspect tools and equipment before use. Work clear of suspended loads, and obey warning signs and tags. In addition, operate only the machinery or equipment you've been authorized and trained to run safely. Remove jewelry such as rings, identification bracelets, necklaces, and so forth before work that involves climbing, material handling, or operating mechanical equipment. Never reach over moving parts of machinery or equipment, and never operate machinery or equipment that has guards removed or guards missing. Report to work in appropriate clothing suitable for the type of work you will be performing. Wear protective equipment as required. Common sense, health, and sanitation rules must be observed for the welfare and consideration of other associates. Try not to work alone. However, if you must, tell someone where you are and how long you will be, and keep in mind that all safety regulations will be strictly enforced. True or false? You should report any changes in your job duties to Manpower. Now that you are aware of the general safety rules that will be enforced, let's take a look at some of the specific safety practices that apply to keeping you safe while working on Manpower job assignments. For many people, the use of personal protective equipment, or PPE, is a required part of every workday. PPE is designed to protect you from serious workplace injuries or illnesses. If it is not used properly, it will not be effective in keeping you safe. All Manpower associates must use required PPE. Prior to beginning work each day, be sure you know what PPE is necessary to safely do your job. Let's take a look at some of the common types of PPE that you might be required to wear on work assignments. Safety glasses, face shields, and welding helmets are types of commonly used eye protection. Make sure your eye protection fits correctly. When you are done using your eye protection, be sure that you know how to maintain and store it. Foot injuries can be avoided with proper use of foot protection. Boots and leather shoes offer adequate protection from many of the hazards encountered in the workplace. Many work environments require the use of shoes or boots equipped with a steel toe. The steel toe helps to protect feet from becoming lacerated or crushed by materials or equipment in the workplace. Hearing protection may be required at the client site where you are working. Types of hearing protection include disposable earplugs, reusable earplugs, headband plugs, and earmuffs. When the possibility of injury from falling or flying objects exists, regulations developed by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, require the use of head protection. The most common type of head protection is the hard hat. A traditional hard hat is made up of an outer shell and a suspension system that is designed to protect the head from heavy blows or other trauma. Hand protection is another common type of PPE used at client sites. Gloves are designed to protect the hands from numerous hazards, including lacerations, burns, punctures, caustic chemicals, and other types of injuries. Gloves can be made of leather, mesh, cotton, or rubber and should be chosen depending on the job. Always take good care of your PPE after each use. If you are unsure of what PPE to use or how to wear it, notify your supervisor. In addition, report damage or defective PPE to your supervisor immediately. Remember that all PPE must be approved by your supervisor or your Manpower representative and meet all applicable standards. True or false? If you have a concern about the condition of your PPE, notify a supervisor. The Hazard Communication Standard, or HAZCOM, was created by OSHA with the intent to protect you from accidental contact with chemicals. The standard provides you with the right to know about the chemicals you may encounter on the job and explains how to protect yourself from the hazards associated with these chemicals. One of your primary responsibilities as an associate is to understand the chemicals you work with or encounter on a routine basis. Specific hazard communication training will be provided if you have regular or routine contact with chemicals. Manpower will provide you with training on the basic principles of HAZCOM, and specific training will be covered by the client. Here are some good practices to follow when working with chemicals and hazardous materials. Use chemicals properly and only for what they are intended. Do not mix incompatible chemicals. Use appropriate PPE. Know the location of the nearest eye wash and drench shower system prior to working with chemicals. Understand and use safety data sheets, SDS. These sheets explain the hazards and precautions of the chemicals you work with and are available at each client worksite. In addition, properly label containers with the identity of their contents and applicable hazard warnings. Practice good hygiene when using chemicals. Wash your hands often, before breaks, meals, and at the end of the day. And separate work from break and lunch areas. True or false? Prior to using any chemical, be sure to read and understand the corresponding SDS. Exertion injuries from lifting, pushing, pulling, twisting, bending, and turning while working with materials resulted in approximately 30% of injuries in the workforce. Proper lifting techniques are critical to reducing your exposure to these types of injuries. Some of the factors that can cause serious back injuries when lifting improperly include twisting and turning too much during the lift, move, or transfer, lifting too much at once, reaching or stretching out of your work zone, and using an improper grip on the load you are moving. When lifting objects, body posture and positioning play a key role. The safe lifting zone is the area between the mid-thigh and chest. Lifts should be made within the safe lifting zone whenever possible. In addition to lifting objects within the safe lifting zone, remember to always lift material using the strength of your legs and not your back. When lifting an object, always practice the following safe lifting techniques. Move in close to the load. Bend at your knees, not at your waist. Keep your back straight and avoid unnecessary twisting. Hold the load close to your body, and lift the material using the strength of your legs, not your back. If the material is too heavy for one person to lift, use a mechanical aid such as a dolly or team lift with someone who is equal in strength. True or false? When lifting a load, keep it away from your body. Good housekeeping is a term that describes the practice of keeping the workplace neat and orderly. Storing materials properly, maintaining adequate space to move through or work in the area are all easy actions to take for preventing accidents. In addition, good housekeeping also allows for more efficient job performance on your part. Materials, tools, and equipment stored in an orderly manner are easier to find, less likely to become damaged, and quicker to use. To maintain good housekeeping in your work area, take the following actions. Maintain work areas and storage facilities that are clean, neat, and orderly. Keep all aisles, stairways, passageways, exits, and access ways to the buildings free from obstructions at all times. Clean up all spills immediately. Return tools and equipment to their proper place when not in use. And lay out extension cords, air hoses, water hoses, ladders, pipes, tools, and so forth in a way that minimizes tripping hazards or obstructions to traffic. The majority of electrical accidents can be prevented. Only qualified personnel should perform repair work to electrical equipment. Remember the following simple precautions when working with electricity. Inspect equipment and cords for damage prior to use. Don't overload electrical outlets, and report any concerns you have to your supervisor. Lockout Tagout is a safety procedure for de-energizing, disconnecting, and shutting down the power sources to equipment so that it can be maintained or repaired without hazard to the associates authorized to work on this type of equipment. When a power source is de-energized or shut down, a lock and tag are affixed to the equipment to ensure that it is not re-energized or started up until the repair work or maintenance is completed. Should you see equipment that is locked and tagged out, do not touch the lock, tag, equipment, or controls. Only qualified personnel should perform repair work to lock out, tag out equipment or reported deficiencies. One of the most common types of accidents at client sites is slip, trip, and fall accidents. Many slips, trips, and falls are caused by unsafe actions or work practices that can be easily corrected. To prevent a slip, trip, and fall accident, one of the most important actions you can take is to slow down. Move at a steady pace and don't race down halls or around corners. Other preventive measures you can take include paying attention to walking surfaces and noting changes such as varying heights, the presence of curbs, and so forth, making wide turns at corners, wearing slip-resistant shoes when appropriate, keeping your hands free for balance and out of your pockets, making sure that you can see over the load you are carrying, and keeping work areas clean and free of clutter. In addition, when sitting in a chair, keep chair legs on the floor at all times. Follow your client's site safety rules regarding footwear. Keep the bottoms of your shoes clean. Clean up spills immediately. And report any safety concerns to your supervisor. Injuries to fingers and hands from using incorrect or worn hand and power tools are a common occurrence. Another safety concern when using power tools is the risk of particles flying into the eyes due to using defective tools or not wearing eye protection. To use hand and power tools safely, consider these safety practices. Select the right tool for the job. Always wear the correct PPE for the job, such as safety glasses or goggles, especially when using chisels, punches, and wedges. Check the handle and head of every tool for tightness and proper working condition before each use. Return tools to their proper place so that they do not fall from a ledge or are in a location where they could cause a slip, trip, and fall injury. And report anything that may be wrong with the tool to your supervisor so it can be repaired or replaced. Emergencies due to fire, severe weather, and national events can occur at any time. It is important to be prepared and know what to do should an emergency situation occur. Be aware of all evacuation routes, exits, assembly, and shelter areas at your workplace. Take part in evacuation drills and associate training sessions related to emergency situations. Do not use elevators to evacuate, and remain in the designated area until authorities give the all-clear signal. With this important knowledge in mind, let's take a minute to complete a short quiz, which reinforces the elements discussed in this training program. For those of you viewing this program in DVD format, please complete the paper version of the quiz. Once you've completed the quiz, please turn it into your supervisor or staffing specialist. This completes your general safety orientation. Thank you for participating in this program. If you have any questions on the topics discussed in this training program, please contact your Manpower supervisor. Remember to work safely on every job, every day.